I have some really bad news for you today. If you are a homeschool mom who has been looking forward to her kids working independently, I know that when I first started homeschooling, I had lots of little ones. We did all the preschool activities, and then we started all the kindergarten, first grade. We were learning to read and learning basic math, and it is extremely time consuming. You just sit there and listen to them sound out the same words over and over again. You listen to their math facts as they work to learn those, and it is just very parent intensive. And I longed for the days when my kids would be able to do just anything without me sitting right next to them. Even once they were able to read, they still required me to sit right next to them, keeping them on task, keeping them focused. And I felt like I could not have any space, any time in my day because my entire day was spent going back and forth from child to child, helping them and making sure that they were on track and answering their questions, reading their instructions to them. It was very parent intensive. So I just looked forward to the day when they could do something on their own. I was so ready for independent learners in my homeschool. And I think it is really important for that to be your goal as a homeschool parent. You want your kids to be an independent learner. You want them to love learning, to be excited about learning, so that they will be a lifelong learner. They need to know how to learn, how to look up information, how to find that information, how to read it, how to analyze it and understand it, and how to talk about it and defend their position on the information that they have studied and learned. So that is very important. That should be your goal. You want them to be able to do all of that independently. You will not be holding their hand throughout their life as they try to learn things, as they go through college or they get a job. You won't be there explaining everything to them. They will have to be able to figure it out on their own. So that is very important. That should be your goal, to raise independent learners who are critical thinkers, who are able to do things on their own. But I did not think about the downside to that. So today I am sharing the huge downside to having independent learners. I have finally reached the age where I have a teen, a preteen, and almost preteen, and they are, for the most part, independent learners. They're excellent readers. They do well in math. They have got the foundation. They know the basics. And so they're able to do some things on their own. That is really exciting. However, no one warned me about the amount of grading and checking, spot checking, and reading back over their work. I didn't realize how time consuming that would be. And you know what? I don't feel that I save a lot of time in my homeschool. I used to sit next to them, learning alongside them, helping them, grading as we went. Now they work on their own. They bring things to me. I go find the answer key. I look at their work. I look at the answer key. I compare it. Half the time I am fairly confused because my brain is exhausted from taking care of babies and toddlers. I feel like my brain is mush. So as I am trying to read their history essay or look at their math and the fractions and all the algebra, my brain can barely figure it out because I apparently don't remember any of this from when I was in school. And so I have to sit there and figure it out and grade their assignments and then work with them and help them figure out where they went wrong. And so I don't feel like I save a ton of time. Even though I'm not sitting with them as they work, I still have to take the time later to go back through and spot check and grade and correct their work and then go over it with them. So, yeah, independent learning. Yay! Grading for you. Oh, no, it's very time consuming. And no one told me, no one warned me. So I'm here to warn you that if you have independent learners, there's still a lot that you have to do. You do need to go back through their work and don't let yourself get behind on that. I made that huge mistake thinking they're independent, we can do this, and I just kind of was very focused on my younger ones and I didn't grade and spot check their work, my older ones, in a timely manner, and I got so behind. And that is the pit of despair of homeschooling, is when you are behind in going back through and checking work. And it took me forever, many, many weeks and weekends to catch back up and to get where I needed to be. So I have done some things to help me not fall into that trap of getting so behind again. One of the things that I do is I try to grade a little bit of something every day. I have my kids bring me things when they are done. I spot check it. I go through it with them right then and there. Another thing that I have done is I will have them bring me things and I will spot check to make sure that it is actually complete. I'll check a few things kind of down the page, a few random questions, and then I will give them the answer key. And I do it, they're still in the room with me. I'll be working with another child. I give them my marker and the answer key, and I have them sit next to me while I work with another child, and I have them correct their own work. For my middle school and upper elementary kids, I'm not keeping grades. They don't have a transcript. It doesn't matter. I just care that they learn it and they understand why they're making mistakes. So I have my kids grade their own work. I told that to a couple other homeschool moms. They could not believe that. They thought I was crazy. But I have found that it is so helpful for them to grade their own work, find what they're doing wrong, and correct as they go. They learn much more from doing that than they do if I just go through it and write in the answers and hand it back to them. Half the time, they don't take the time to read back through it, so I have to sit there and read through it with them to make sure they understand where they made the mistakes. It also helps me not fall behind. It gets their things graded in a more timely manner, and they can learn from their mistakes so that they're not moving on to the next assignment still making the same mistakes. So just know, if you have independent learners, there's a lot of grading and checking of work that goes along with that. Don't let yourself get behind. Come up with a plan, whether it's every Monday you grade a certain subject. I grade one subject on Monday, one subject on Tuesday, one subject on Wednesday, and those are the due dates for those things. My kids turn them in, and I do that. Whether you grade a little bit every day. I've even had weekends where I just Sunday afternoon, my kids play, and I grade. It's not exciting at all, but it was the only way that I could stay caught up. And then I have now learned to give my kids a little more independence in checking their work, and they do it while I'm able to work with other kids. So it is a lot more efficient if they're checking their own work and grading it while I am working with someone else. So that's something that we've done in our homeschool to kind of take back my time a little bit so that I am not spending all of my time then grading all of this independent work that they have done. So hopefully that will help you in homeschooling. I just wanted to share that warning because no one shared that with me. I never thought about all of the work that would go along with independent learners. So now you know, you've learned from my mistake. Know that there's a lot to stay on top of. When you have independent learners, you need to be diligent in checking their work. Do not fall behind and put some of that back on them. Have them work with you and learn to check their own work. And that will save a lot of time in your homeschool. Okay, for more homeschool tips, you can find those below. You can also subscribe to get my new videos.